Her hand was shaking, not from fear, but from the weight of what she was about to do. In a courtyard full of silk gowns and diamond smiles, the blind girl lifted her chin and pointed, straight at the black housekeeper. Gasps rippled through the crowd. One of the women in red leaned forward, voice dripping with venom. She doesn't even belong here. Her millionaire father froze mid-breath. The housekeeper's yellow-gloved hand flew to her mouth, eyes wide, heart pounding so loud she could hear it in her ears. Somewhere behind them, a smirk. The assistant's voice cut through the tension like a blade. Guess she can't see quality. No one moved, no one spoke. The moment hung in the air, and the only thing heavier than the silence was the truth about to come crashing down. What happened next would tear through this mansion like a storm. The mansion rose up like it was built to intimidate, glass walls catching the late Florida sun, marble steps that looked too perfect to walk on. "Welcome, Mr. Carter," a valet said, sliding behind the wheel of a cherry-red Aston Martin before it even cooled. Another guest adjusted his cufflinks and smirked. "Place looks like a movie set." Crystal flutes of champagne moved through the crowd on silver trays. The pop of a cork echoed over the soft hum of conversation. Roses from the imported garden perfumed the air, clashing with the faint salt from Biscayne Bay just beyond the gates. A woman in a gold gown whispered to her date, "That one's wearing last season Versace, bold choice." Her date chuckled, "Bold or desperate?" Security in dark suits scanned every wristband, every name on the list. No one without status crossed that threshold. Meanwhile, the staff stood back in the shadows. Waiters, gardeners, housekeepers. Eyes down, invisible. Near the edge of the terrace, Naomi clutched her cleaning caddy like a shield. A guest brushed past, not even looking at her. From across the courtyard, Ava's head tilted. "Naomi? Is that you?" Naomi's lips curved just slightly. "Afternoon, Miss Ava." The laughter and chatter swirled around them like a storm that hadn't hit yet. Everyone was smiling, sipping, posing, but under all that sparkle there was a crack in the air, and once it split, nothing in this house would look the same again. Naomi moved like she always did, steady, unhurried, never in the way. To most guests, she was just part of the furniture. To the other staff, she was the one who kept this place from falling apart. From across the courtyard, a waiter whispered, "She's been here longer than anyone, but watch, they'll act like she's invisible." Another nodded. "They already are." Sabrina Cole stepped out from a black town car like she owned the driveway. Perfect white smile, gown that caught every bit of light. She spotted Marcus Langford and glided over, voice dripping honey. "Marcus, darling, you look incredible." And Ava, she bent down slightly. "Sweetheart, you look beautiful." Ava smiled politely. "You smell like too much perfume." Marcus chuckled awkwardly, glancing at the other guests. "She's honest." Sabrina straightened, scanning the courtyard as if every inch was hers to claim. Then her eyes landed on Naomi, who was passing behind Marcus with a tray of glasses. The smile vanished. Just for a second. "Is she supposed to be out here?" Sabrina's voice dropped low, but not low enough. Marcus didn't answer. He was already shaking hands with another guest. Naomi kept walking. She'd learned long ago that silence was safer than confrontation, but Ava's head turned toward her. "Naomi, are you going to watch?" Naomi smiled faintly. "No, Miss Ava, I've got work to do." The staff by the side door exchanged glances. One muttered under his breath, "She's got more right to be here than half these people." Naomi had learned to survive in silence, but today, silence wouldn't save her. It started small. Sabrina brushed past Naomi on the terrace, glass in hand. "Careful with that," she said, eyes flicking to Naomi's gloves. "Wouldn't want fingerprints." Two of the other women laughed under their breath. One leaned in, whispering loud enough for half the patio to hear, "Staff should really stay in the service quarters." Naomi said nothing, setting the champagne flute neatly on a side table. The second she turned away, another contestant let out a dramatic sigh and rolled her eyes. "Oh, she's hovering again." Ava, sitting nearby, tilted her head toward the sound. "Naomi, why do they talk like that to you?" Naomi knelt slightly, adjusting the hem of Ava's dress. "Some folks judge before they know a person, that's all." "But you've worked here forever," Ava said. Naomi smiled faintly. And that's still all. Across the lawn, the chef was wiping down a counter. He glanced at the gardener, murmuring, "Same thing every year." The gardener nodded without looking up. "We just keep our heads down." Guests sipped their drinks, laughed, clinked glasses, and pretended not to hear. The little slights stacked up, one on top of the other, until they felt heavier than the heat hanging over the courtyard. Have you ever been judged before someone even knew your story? Drop a yes in the comments. Because when the games began, the rules didn't apply to everyone. Marcus cleared his throat, tapping a spoon against a crystal glass. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. Conversations tapered off. Chairs scraped softly against the stone patio as the crowd turned toward the marble steps. The 5 women stood side by side, gowns shimmering in the sun, each wearing a smile that didn't quite reach their eyes. Sabrina tilted her chin toward the others, whispering, "You can relax. We all know how this ends." One of the women laughed quietly. "You mean you know how this ends?" Sabrina smirked. "Exactly." Marcus gestured for his daughter. "Ava, sweetheart, you're up." Ava walked forward slowly, cane in her left hand. Her other hand reached out, finding each contestant in turn. A soft touch to a wrist, a gentle brush against a palm. The first woman squeezed her hand lightly. "Hi, Ava." The second let out a nervous laugh. "Hope I'm the lucky one." Sabrina bent down just slightly. "You know I'd be perfect for you." Ava said nothing. She kept moving. Then she stopped. Her fingers rested on Naomi's gloved hand. A pause. A breath. And then Ava's chin lifted. "You," she said. The crowd stirred. A man in the back whispered, "Isn't that the housekeeper?" Another voice, sharper. "She's just the maid." Sabrina blinked, then let out a laugh that dripped with disbelief. "This is ridiculous, Marcus. She's staff." A few heads nodded. Others looked at the ground, pretending not to be involved. Marcus hesitated, his eyes darting between Ava and the row of women. "Sweetheart, are you sure?" Ava didn't flinch. "She's my choice." Naomi kept her gaze low, hands folded in front of her. No smile, no protest. Just calm. But her stillness felt like the quiet before a storm. A murmur rolled through the guests, building into a low hum of speculation and judgment. Someone muttered near the terrace, "I guess this whole thing's a joke now." Another hissed back, "Shh." Marcus looks furious. The air was tight enough to snap. And yet, in the center of it all, Ava stood tall beside Naomi, gripping her hand like there was nothing strange about it at all. The room fell silent, but the truth was about to blow it wide open. Marcus leaned down, voice tight. "Ava, sweetheart, you can't just pick anyone." Ava turned her head toward him, the faintest smile touching her lips. "You don't know her like I do." Before Marcus could respond, a voice cut through the murmurs. "If I may, there's something the guests, and perhaps even you, Mr. Langford, should know." Heads turned. From the far corner of the courtyard, a man in a tailored gray suit stepped forward, a leather portfolio under his arm. He moved with the quiet confidence of someone who didn't need permission to speak. Marcus frowned. "And you are?" "Daniel Ross," the man said, opening the portfolio. "Your late wife's attorney." Sabrina crossed her arms. "This should be good." Daniel ignored her, pulling out a set of documents. "Mr. Langford, according to your wife's will, if anything were to happen to you, legal guardianship of Ava would not go to a relative. It would go to the person she trusted most." The guests leaned in. Marcus's brow furrowed. "And who exactly would that be?" Daniel glanced at Ava, then at Naomi. "It's her," he said simply. A sharp intake of breath rippled through the crowd. Sabrina laughed, short and sharp. "The maid? You've got to be joking." Daniel didn't blink. "I assure you I am not." He turned to Marcus. "Your wife made this decision after Naomi saved Ava's life." Ava's chin lifted. "It was the summer at the lake house. I slipped off the dock." Naomi's voice was quiet, steady. "She couldn't swim. I went in after her." Marcus stared at Naomi. "You never told me." Naomi met his eyes. "Your wife asked me not to. She didn't want gratitude to be the only reason I stayed." Ava's small hand tightened around Naomi's glove. "She's not just my choice, Dad. She's the reason I'm here." Whispers spread like wildfire across the courtyard. Someone near the front said, "If that's true, everything changes." Another replied, "It already has." But that wasn't the only secret Naomi had been keeping. Sabrina's face went pale. She took a step forward, hands raised. I didn't mean. Ava's voice cut through her like glass. You meant every word. The guests froze. Some glanced at Marcus, others looked at the ground. A few lifted their phones, recording. Marcus turned slowly toward Naomi. His voice was lower now, almost hesitant. I'm sorry, for everything. Naomi nodded once, saying nothing. The silence that followed was heavier than any apology could fill. From the back, someone clapped. Just once. Then another joined in, and another. It wasn't a standing ovation. More like quiet agreement that the room had been wrong. Sabrina's smile wavered. She turned to one of the other contestants. They'll understand. I was just defending the process. The woman shook her head. No, you were defending yourself. By the next morning, the videos were everywhere, clipped, captioned, and shared on feeds across Miami. One headline read, Socialite humiliates housekeeper, gets exposed in front of everyone. Another, blind girl chooses housekeeper over rich contestants. Here's why. At a charity gala planning meeting, Sabrina's phone buzzed nonstop. Finally, one of the organizers looked her dead in the eye. We can't have your name attached to this anymore. Sponsors are backing out. She tried to argue. This is being blown out of proportion. No, the organizer said flatly. It's exactly the right proportion. By the end of the week, her face was off the posters. Her seat at the table was gone, and while Sabrina faded from the scene, Naomi's life was just getting started. It didn't happen overnight, but when it did, it felt like it had always been meant to. 2 months after the ceremony, Marcus stood on the back lawn, papers in hand. He looked at Naomi, then at Ava. If you're ready, we can sign. Ava grinned, tugging Naomi's sleeve. We're ready. The pen scratched across the page. Just like that, it was official. Naomi Bennett was Ava's mother. Marcus leaned in quietly. Thank you for being who she always needed. Word spread quickly, but not because of gossip. This time, it was because of what came next. One morning, a moving truck rolled through the gates. Workers unloaded bookshelves, art easels, and braille printers into what used to be the west wing of the estate. By the weekend, a banner hung over the doorway. Langford Learning Center for the Blind. The first day it opened, a little boy in dark glasses asked, Do I get to come here every week? Naomi smiled. Every week, and every day if you want. A local news crew showed up, cameras rolling. The reporter leaned in. Naomi, people want to know, why you? Naomi didn't hesitate. Family isn't about blood, it's about who shows up when it matters. Clips from that interview flooded social media. The hashtag chosen by heart trended for days. People shared their own stories about neighbors who became parents, about teachers who became family. A teacher in Ohio posted, My student's grandmother raised her since birth. She's #chosen by heart too. A woman in Texas wrote, The woman who took me in when I had nowhere to go, she's my Naomi. One night, Ava scrolled through the posts, smiling. You see this? You started something. Naomi shook her head. We started something, and that choice would inspire thousands of strangers to look closer. So now it's your turn. You've heard what happened. You've seen how one choice changed 2 lives forever. But what's your take on this? Was Ava brave? Was Naomi the only real choice from the start? Comment below. I'm reading every single one. And think about it. Have you ever been judged before someone even knew your heart? Maybe it was at work. Maybe it was in your own family. Maybe it was from a complete stranger who decided they knew your worth before you even opened your mouth. If that's ever happened to you, this story is yours too. And I want to hear it. Share it in the comments, because when we speak up, these moments stop being just stories. They become reminders of what matters. Ava didn't choose a dress. She didn't choose a status. She chose a person. Someone who showed up. Someone who stayed. How many people in your life could say the same about you? How many could you say it about? This channel is where we honor those people, where we tell the stories the world tries to overlook. And if you want to keep hearing them, stories where the underdog wins, where dignity always comes first, then hit subscribe, because the next story might just be yours.